Hey, what's going on everyone, this is iReviews back with another video, and iOS 17 is just coming out in a few hours from now, and of course everyone will want to update to this amazing update which brings a lot of new features and changes. But there are a few things that you need to know before you start installing iOS 17 on your device. So in this video, I will give you guys a few tips and tricks that I think every iPhone user must know before they try to update their device to the new iOS 17. Now, first of all, before you even try to update, make sure that you have enough storage on your iPhone, because that way you won't be able to update to iOS 17 if there's not enough storage. Now, keep in mind that this is a huge update and it will come at a quite big size, most likely more than 5 gigs. So if you just go ahead and go to your settings and go under general settings, you will have here your iPhone storage, and right here you will see how much free storage you have on your device. Now, I suggest you have at least around 10 gigs of free storage on your device before you try to update to iOS 17. Of course, the update will be smaller than that, but iOS needs to have more space than the size of the update in order to update. Now, here you will find some recommendations on how you can clean up storage from your device, like delete the recently deleted album and things like that. Or what you can do, what I would actually do is, if I don't have enough storage, I would just delete any like big app that I have on my device. Like you can see right here, Instagram, it is at 4 gigs and it's actually not that big at all. It's only 256 megabytes, but the size of the data is 4 gigs. So just delete the app, install the update, and then come back, install the app, and you're good to go. The next thing you want to do, and I wouldn't suggest anyone to update to new iOS software, especially to a major release like iOS 17, without backing up their device. Now, you will have two options, of course. If you have space on your iCloud account, you can back up to your iCloud account. You go to the top of your settings app, to your profile, go under iCloud, and here you can go ahead and just back up your device. You enable it here, you're good to go. You update, you actually back up your device, and you will have all the data saved there. Now, most likely this will go pretty smooth, nothing will go wrong. It actually didn't happen anytime to me that something would go wrong with an update and I might lose my data. But just to be safe, make sure that you always have a backup on your iCloud, or if you don't have storage on your iCloud, make sure you do that through a computer or a laptop. If you don't have one, find one and back up your data before trying to update your device to the new iOS 17. The next thing I suggest everyone should do is check whether the apps they use are compatible with iOS 17. Well, most of the big apps and the popular apps will be updated, and even if they won't, they actually work with iOS 17. I didn't have any problem with any of the apps not working with iOS 17, but a lot of banking apps will need to actually be updated. A lot of those apps are actually sometimes apps that will crash on a new update because they need to be updated to work with a certain iOS update. So if you have one of those apps that you use for banking or things like that, make sure you check those apps and see if they have been updated or if they're compatible with iOS 17 before updating your device, because you might not be able to use those apps until they are updated. Now, to check that, you can just go into the apps page on the App Store, search for the app, go into the apps page, and you will have here the version history, and you can take a look at the updates that they have done to the app and see whether it has been updated for iOS 17 or not. The next thing, if you're updating from beta, well, if you're on the RC version, you won't be updating because you already have the update. But if you're updating from a beta, if you're on beta 8 of iOS 17 or any earlier beta, then what I would suggest you do is go under settings, general, and if you go to the software update, of course you will find the RC version here. But if you just don't want to install that, you just want to install the public version, even though they're pretty much the same update, go ahead and just turn off the update from here. So turn off the beta updates, and then you can just go ahead and install the update for the public release of iOS 17, which will show up here the minute you disable the updates for the betas right there. Now, updating, of course, will be pretty simple. You can do it over the air. You don't have to do it through a computer. You just come here to the software update, and of course you tap installed here. As long as you have enough storage and you have your iPhone charged, there will be no problem updating your device. And it can also enable automatic updates. If you just don't want to update like manually, you can just do that from here. Update, you enable actually iOS updates right there. You enable it here, and all you have to do when you go to sleep, just make sure you have your iPhone charging and of course connected to Wi-Fi network. Then the iOS update will be installed automatically through the night without you having to wait for it or install it manually. Another thing I would suggest most people actually should do is, if you have an older device, make sure you search around internet. I would suggest YouTube or Reddit and search for that device and how it works with iOS 17. Now, of course, the newer devices will be okay, but if you have one of the older devices like an iPhone 11 maybe, or maybe an iPhone SE that supports the new iOS 17 update, I would actually go ahead and just do some research and see how actually that update works with those devices, of course, because a lot of older devices might not run as they should with this new update. Even though I have here an iPhone 11 Pro, which I have updated to iOS 17, and I didn't find any like problems using it on iOS 17. It actually works the same as on iOS 16, so that should be no problem. But if you're concerned with that, make sure you do some research before updating to iOS 17. And last but not least, should you update on day one to iOS 17? Well, in my experience using this software since beta 1, it actually has been quite stable. The battery life is okay, not the greatest ever, but it's okay, and the performance is great. When it comes to performance, iOS 17 is really amazing. Of course, using this on beta and of course being released on beta during the summer, there will be problems that of course devs that use this will notice and report to Apple, but it's nothing compared like when it gets released to the public and hundreds of millions of people use it. There is the time where of course the problems will surface. So I would suggest, if you're really concerned, wait for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days before installing iOS 17 into your device. Just wait and see the feedback from people if there's like any major issues with this software, even though, as I said, in my experience it actually has been quite great. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. iOS 17 seems to be a great update. It will be released tomorrow, September 18th, a Monday. It will be released at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so just make sure you go ahead and check out the time zones and see in which time it will be released for your time zone. And again, this is a great update, so I suggest if you have a device that supports it, make sure you update and enjoy all the cool new features. So that's basically it for this video. If you want to see more iOS 17 videos, make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this one, hit that like button. I will see you guys on the next video.